You know what the hospital gave us for Doctor's Day? A towel. A beach towel with the hospital logo on it. And a card that said, "We appreciate you." And then they scheduled me for a 30-hour shift. That's not wellness. That's performative bullshit. Hello, I'm Dr. Felix Boecker, and today we're talking about self-care that actually works. Not the stuff that makes you roll your eyes, but the stuff that's practical, sustainable, and actually helps. Welcome to In Search of 42. Let me tell you what self-care advice we physicians typically get. Just practice mindfulness. Take a bubble bath. Do yoga. Remember to breathe. Have you tried meditation? And my personal favorite, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Oh, really? Get enough sleep? Well, thank you, genius. I'm working 80 hours a week with 30-hour call shifts. Why didn't I think of getting more sleep? This is why physicians roll their eyes at wellness initiatives. Because the advice is either completely impractical for our schedules, vague and unhelpful, or insulting in its simplicity. Just practice mindfulness. What does that even mean? It assumes everyone knows what that means. It assumes we have time for it. It assumes we can just turn off our brains and zen out while we're managing a crashing patient. That's not helpful. And then there are the institutional wellness programs, pizza parties, useless gifts on Doctor's Day, wellness committees that meet during lunch when you're supposed to be eating, mandatory wellness lectures that add to your schedule instead of protecting your time. This is performative wellness. It makes the institution look like they care, but it actually doesn't help physicians. So today, I'm going to give you self-care strategies that actually work. Practical things you can do, even when you're busy, even when you're exhausted, even when you're in residency. This isn't going to be fluffy. This isn't going to be idealistic. This is going to be real. Let's talk about self-care without the eye roll. Let me tell you why most wellness advice fails for physicians. Problem 1, it's not specific. Practice mindfulness. Okay, how? When? For how long? What does that actually look like? Give me specifics or don't even bother. Problem 2, it doesn't account for our schedules. Take a long bath to relax. Great, I'm on call for 30 hours. When exactly am I taking this bath? In the call room shower? Problem 3, it ignores the structural problems. You need better work-life balance. You're right, I do. But when my institution schedules me for 80-hour weeks, how is that my fault? How is a bubble bath going to fix systemic issues? Problem 4, it's one size fits all, or rather one size fits none. What works for one person doesn't work for another. Some people find yoga relaxing. Some people love meditation. Some people enjoy running. We need personalized approaches, not generic advice. Problem 5, it adds to our burden. Come to our wellness seminar. Well, that's during my 1 hour off this week. Now I have to choose between eating lunch and attending your seminar. That's not wellness. That's another obligation. So let's do better. Let's talk about self-care that's actually practical. Let me share with you the framework I created for burnout mitigation. I call it the Phoenix program. It's based on 5 P's, and all of these lessons are available for free on my YouTube channel. Here's the framework. The first P stands for positivity. This is about generating a positive framework to build up from, not toxic positivity, not pretending everything is fine when it is not, but actively looking for positive elements in your life, practicing gratitude, smiling even when you don't feel like it, savoring moments, appreciating small wins. The idea is based on the positivity ratio pioneered by Barbara Fredrickson, which has received some criticism in the literature. But I think there is still some truth in finding more positive thoughts than negative thoughts in your life. When you're burned out, everything feels negative. Everything feels hopeless. Everything feels heavy. And that negative spiral makes everything worse. So you have to intentionally look for the positive, the small things. I had a patient thank me today. I got to teach a medical student something useful. I made it through a difficult case successfully. These aren't major achievements, but they are positive. And when you're drowning in negativity, you need to grab onto something positive. The second P stands for purpose. What is your purpose? What are your core values? What drives you? Knowing this can help align your actions with what matters most to you. Most physicians went into medicine with a purpose: to help people, to solve complex problems, to make a difference. But somewhere along the way, that purpose got buried under administrative tasks, under insurance battles, under documentation requirements, under exhaustion. And when you lose sight of your purpose, burnout accelerates. So you have to reconnect with it. Why did you go into medicine? What matters to you? What gives you meaning? And then, how can you align your daily work with that purpose, even in small ways? The third P stands for priming. This is about future visioning, manifesting, inspiration, the stuff we need to look for a better version of ourselves in the future. When you're burned out, you cannot see a future. Everything feels like it will be terrible forever. You need to prime yourself for a better future. What would your ideal life look like? What would your ideal day look like? What would your ideal career look like? Not in a win the lottery and quit medicine way, but in a realistic, achievable way. What small changes could make things better? What's worth working toward? Priming is about creating hope, creating vision, creating something to move toward. The fourth P stands for planning. How do we actually implement all this in our lives to create a better version for ourselves? Vision without action is just daydreaming. So you need a plan, a real, practical plan. What are the concrete steps? What are you going to do this week, this month, this year? What boundaries are you going to set? What conversations are you going to have? What changes are you going to make? Planning makes it real. The fifth P stands for physical exercise and play, aka self-care. Your body matters. Your physical health matters. Exercise, movement, play, things that bring you joy. Not because you should, but because your body needs it. Your brain needs it. Your mental health needs it. These 5 P's work together. Positivity gives you the mindset. Purpose gives you the direction. Priming gives you the vision. Planning gives you the action steps. And physical exercise and play gives you the foundation. That's the Phoenix program. So let's get practical. The first strategy I want to talk about is transition rituals. You need something that helps you transition from work mode to home mode. Something that signals to your brain, work is over, I am off now. This is crucial because without a transition, you bring work home with you, mentally and emotionally. What does this look like? For me, right now, I work from home, so my ritual is simple. I log off and shut down my computer. That's it. That physical act of closing the laptop signals that work is done. Then I get to take care of my family, and I do my own thing after everyone else is in bed so I can wind down my day. For others, the transition ritual might be changing out of your work clothes as soon as you get home. You take off the white coat or scrubs. You put on comfortable clothes. That physical change signals the transition. Listening to music on your commute home, something that's not medical, something that shifts your brain out of work mode. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk before you go inside your house, even if it's just around the block. That gives you space to decompress. A few minutes of meditation or deep breathing in your car before you go inside. Not because meditation is magic, but because it gives you a moment to transition. The specific ritual doesn't matter. What matters is that it's consistent, that it's intentional, that it signals to your brain work is over. Without a transition ritual, you never truly leave work. You're always half there, always thinking about patients, always on call mentally. That's exhausting. So, create a transition ritual, even a small one. It helps. The second strategy is scheduling time for yourself. Just as scheduling time for your partner is important, so is scheduling time for yourself. Make time for hobbies, friends, and interests outside of medicine. I know what you're thinking. I don't have time for hobbies. I barely have time to sleep. How am I supposed to schedule time for myself? Here's the thing. If you don't schedule it, it won't happen. If you wait for free time to magically appear, you will be waiting forever. You have to be intentional. You have to protect that time. The same way you protect time for your patients. The same way you protect time for required meetings. Protect time for yourself. Put it on your calendar. Even if it's just 30 minutes. Even if it's just once a week. Something. For me, this mostly happens after everyone else has gone to bed. I get time for myself. I work on my home assistant projects. I watch Netflix. I work on podcasts. I read books. That's my time, and I protect it. Is it ideal that it's at the end of the day when I'm already tired? No, but it's what I have, and it's better than nothing. For you, it might be different. Maybe it's Saturday morning while your partner handles the kids. Maybe it's a lunch break once a week where you actually get to leave the hospital. Maybe it's 20 minutes before everyone else wakes up. Find what works for you and schedule it. Protect it. Don't let it get sacrificed to work. Strategy 3, set boundaries, especially if you're a new attending. This is crucial. When you transition from residency to attending, you have to set boundaries from the moment you start. Now, it will feel weird at first. You're coming from the residency world where you're constantly doing grunt work, where you say yes to everything, where you're the lowest person on the totem pole. But suddenly you have some control, some autonomy, some ability to say no. If you don't set boundaries right away, the institution you work for will demand all of your time. They will keep adding responsibilities. They will keep adding committees. They will keep adding expectations. And you will be right back in residency mode. Overworked, overwhelmed, burned out. Now, I wasn't very good at this myself when I first became an attending. I was still in residency mode. I said yes to everything, which can be a good thing because it allows for more experiences. But if you always say yes, then eventually, A, you don't know how to say no, and B, the system will always expect you to say yes. So you have to practice saying no. What does that look like? I appreciate the invitation to join that committee, but I'm at capacity right now. I can't take on additional clinic hours this month. I'm not available for call on that date. I need to protect my research time. I need to protect my family time. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be defensive about it. You just have to be clear. And here's the secret. Most of the time, when you say no, nothing bad happens. The institution doesn't fire you. Your colleagues don't hate you. They just find someone else. Or they realize the thing wasn't that important to begin with. But if you don't set boundaries, you will drown. So, practice saying no early and often. Strategy 4. Reframe small, everyday things as self-care. You don't need a spa day to practice self-care. You don't need a vacation. You don't need a massage. Though those things are nice if you can get them. But self-care can be much smaller than that. It can be the things you're already doing. You just have to shift how you think about them. For example, going to the bathroom can provide a mental health break. Seriously, take an extra 2 minutes in the bathroom. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. That's self-care. Eating a meal can be self-care. Not scarfing down food between patients, but actually sitting down, tasting your food. Or having a meal together with your call team. That's all self-care. Applying makeup can be self-care. Getting dressed in something you like can be self-care. Not because it's pampering, but because you're taking a moment for yourself. You're doing something intentional. Reading can be self-care, even if it's just one page at a time, even if you only read for 5 minutes. That's still time you're giving yourself. Doing crossword puzzles or Sudokus can be self-care. Playing games on your phone can be self-care. Not doom scrolling, but playing a game that engages your brain in a different way. The point is, self-care doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It can be small moments throughout your day where you're intentional about taking care of yourself, where you recognize this is for me, this is important, this matters. Readjusting your focus to seeing these small everyday things as self-care can help. It makes self-care feel more achievable, less like another thing on your to-do list, more like something you're already doing. You're just doing it intentionally. Strategy 5, nutrition. Stay away from the brown food. You know, the type of fried foods and pizza hospitals serve in their cafeterias because it's cheap. Fried chicken, french fries, fried fish, onion rings. They're all brown, all fried, and all terrible for you. But it's fast, it's available, and when you're exhausted and starving, it's what you grab. But here's the reality. You cannot completely avoid the brown foods, especially in residency, especially when you're on call, especially when you're between cases and you only have 10 minutes to eat. So I'm not going to tell you to never eat brown foods. That's unrealistic. But here's what you can do. Eat brown foods as a treat, not as your main staple. Most of the time, try to eat a salad instead, or a sandwich, or something with vegetables, or something with lean meat and lots of protein. Don't skimp on the protein. Protein keeps you full longer. Protein helps your brain function. Protein matters. And please, please drink more water. Not just coffee, not just energy drinks, but water. Dehydration makes exhaustion worse. It makes concentration worse. It makes everything worse. Carry a water bottle. Fill it up regularly. Drink it. That's not complicated, but it helps. Now, is this perfect nutrition? No. Is this what a nutritionist would recommend? Probably not, but it's realistic, it's sustainable, and it's better than eating brown foods for every meal. Strategy 6, movement. Notice I didn't say exercise program because let's be realistic here. In residency, you don't have time for a structured exercise program. You don't have time to go to the gym for an hour. You don't have time for a fitness class. So let's talk about movement instead. Movement when you can, where you can, however you can. In med school, my friends and I went to the gym regularly. We made it a priority. In residency, that fell by the wayside. There simply wasn't time. But here's what helped. When my hospital installed a gym for staff, I could hang out in the gym instead of the call room. I could get some exercise in even while at work. Now, that's not always possible, but if your hospital has a gym, use it. Some people have gyms in their apartment buildings. Use them, even if it's just for 15 minutes. A quick workout. Something is better than nothing. And if that's not an option, at least go for a walk after being on call. Just 10 minutes. That can help with mental clarity. That can help you decompress. That can help you sleep better. Take the stairs instead of the elevator whenever you can. Walk to the cafeteria instead of ordering delivery. Park farther away. These are all small things, but they add up. Now, as an attending, you have a little more control. You can actually schedule exercise, make time for it. Something you enjoy. It could be running, cycling, swimming, lifting weights. Who cares? Just do something, anything that you enjoy doing, and make time for it. Even a little bit helps. Exercise improves mood, it improves sleep, it improves energy, it improves everything. So, find something you enjoy and make time for it, even if it's small, even if it's not perfect. Movement matters. Strategy 7, sleep. Everyone tells you to get more sleep, and you want to punch them in the face. Because you're working 30-hour shifts, you're on call, you're exhausted, and they're telling you to just get more sleep. Thank you, genius. But here's the reality. In residency, you cannot get adequate sleep. It's structurally impossible. So we're not going to pretend otherwise. Here's the mantra from surgery residency. Eat when you can, sleep when you can, pee when you can. And that is very true. You never know how long your next task will keep you engaged. So, when you have a window, take it. A little cat nap here and there helps. 20 minutes in the call room, 15 minutes between cases, 10 minutes before rounds. It's not ideal, it's not restorative sleep, but it's better than nothing. And it gets you through. Once you're an attending and have a little more control over your schedule, it does get better. Except for those days on call. But most days, you can actually sleep. You can actually have a regular sleep schedule. And that makes a huge difference. So, prioritize sleep whenever you can. Don't stay up late doom scrolling on your phone. Don't binge watch Netflix until 2 in the morning when you have to be up at 6. I know it's tempting. I know you want that time for yourself, but sleep matters more. Your brain needs it. Your body needs it. Your mental health needs it. So, sleep when you can. Let me tell you about 2024. I took the entire year off from clinical practice. It was the first time in my life that I took time out just for me, just for myself. I lost my brother. I lost 2 of my best friends, all within a few months, and I needed time. Time to grieve, time to process, time to reset. And for the first time in my life, I tried to learn how to practice self-care. What did that look like? I worked on my coaching business. I worked on my relationship with my now fiance. I went to the gym a lot. I read books. I spent time with my kids. I did therapy. I adjusted my medications. I just existed without the pressure of work, without the demands of patients, without the schedule. And it was necessary. I needed that reset. Here's what I learned. Even with all the time in the world, self-care is not automatic. You still have to be intentional about it. You still have to figure out what works for you. You still have to do the work. Having time helps, but it's not enough. You have to use that time intentionally. You have to invest in yourself. You have to prioritize your well-being. And that's exactly what I did. And it helped. It saved me, honestly. That year of self-care was therapeutic. It was essential. And now I'm back in the workforce and I'm applying what I learned. I'm protecting my time. I'm setting boundaries. I'm prioritizing self-care. Not perfectly, but much better than before. When physicians come to me for coaching around burnout, here's my framework. Step 1, identify what's fueling the burnout. What specifically is draining you? Is it dissatisfaction with the day-to-day work? Is it patient load? Is it your schedule? Is it lack of autonomy? Is it difficult colleagues? Is it administrative burden? Is it moral injury? We have to get specific because I'm burned out isn't specific enough to fix it. Some of the questions I ask are, what is draining you at work? What is draining you at home? What gives you energy? What takes energy away? When do you feel most alive? When do you feel most dead inside? Step 2, discover core values. What actually matters to you? Not what you think should matter, not what society says should matter, but what actually matters to you. I have my clients do the core values exercise. It's available for free on my website. We identify the top 3 core values, things like autonomy, creativity, family, service, learning, recognition, whatever. And then we look at alignment. Because step 3 is identifying the misalignment. How does your current work align or not align with your core values? This is usually where the burnout is coming from. If you value autonomy, but you have no control over your schedule, that's misalignment. If you value family, but you're never home, that's misalignment. If you value creativity, but you're doing the same routine procedures every day, that's misalignment. Misalignment between core values and work is what creates burnout. Step 4, future visioning. If you could snap your fingers and create the perfect day, what would that look like? Not win the lottery and quit medicine, but realistically, what would a good day look like? What would you be doing? Who would you be with? What would bring you satisfaction? This helps create a vision of what we're working toward. Step 5, identifying strategies. How do we close the gap between where you are and where you want to be? What changes can you make? What boundaries can you set? What conversations do you need to have? What job changes might be necessary? What small steps can you take this week, this month, this year? We create a plan, a real actionable plan, not just wishful thinking. This framework works because it's personalized, because it addresses the actual problems, because it aligns actions with values. That's how you combat burnout. Not with pizza parties or cheap beach towels, not with generic wellness advice, with real structural change. Let me address something important. Sometimes self-care feels like another obligation, Another thing on your to-do list, another thing you're failing at. I get it. I feel that way sometimes myself. I know I should go to the gym. I know my body needs it, but I just don't have the interest. I don't have the motivation. And then I feel guilty about not going, which makes everything worse. So, what do you do when self care feels like an obligation? First, lower your standards. Self care doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be an hour at the gym. It can be a 10-minute walk, it can be 5 minutes of stretching, it can be one deep breath. Something is better than nothing. Second, find the barriers. Why don't you want to do it? Is it time? Is it energy? Is it interest? Is it something else? Identify the actual barrier. Then problem solve around it. If it's time, can you schedule it differently? If it's energy, can you do a smaller version? If it's interest, can you try something different? Third, reassess your priorities. Maybe this particular form of self care isn't what you need right now. Maybe you need something else. Sleep instead of exercise, reading instead of socializing, solitude instead of activity. Your needs change. Your self care should change too. Fourth, work on it over time. If self care is indeed a priority for you, how can you reshape your life over the next few months to make time for it? This isn't an overnight fix, it's a process. Small changes over time that add up. Fifth, give yourself grace. You are doing the best you can. You're managing an incredibly demanding career. You're dealing with exhaustion and stress and pressure. If you don't do self care perfectly, that's okay. You're still doing your best, and that's enough. Let me talk specifically to the residents because you have the least amount of time, the least control, and the most demands. What's the minimum viable self care? What's the bare minimum you need to survive? Here's my list. Number one, eat something besides brown foods at least once a day. One salad, one sandwich with vegetables, one piece of fruit, something with nutritional value. Number two, drink water. Drink water. Carry a water bottle, fill it up, drink it. Number three, sleep when you can. Even a 20-minute nap, brief moments of rest, take them. Number four, the transition ritual. Something that helps you leave work at work, even if it's just taking off your white coat when you get home and hang it up. Number five, one thing for yourself every week. 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, something that is not work, something that is not an obligation, something that is just for you. Reading, a hobby, a phone call with a friend, a walk, something. 6, one person you can talk to. It could be a co-resident, a friend, a family member, a therapist, someone who knows you're struggling, someone you can reach out to. That's it. That's minimum viable self care. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it's survivable. And sometimes survival is enough. You will have time for more later when you're in attending, when you have more control. But right now, just survive and do these 6 things. That's enough. Let me tell you what my current self care routine looks like because I want to be real with you. I'm not perfect at this, I'm still figuring it out. But here's what is working: my transition ritual. I work from home now, so at the end of the workday, I log off and shut down my computer. That is my signal that work is done. Family time. Well, I take care of the family: dinner, kids' activities, whatever needs to happen. Then comes my time. After everyone else has gone to bed, I get time for myself, usually 9 p.m. to midnight. That's when I work on home assistant projects and watch Netflix, work on podcasts, read books. That's my decompression time. Nutrition. I try to eat better. Now it's hard with 4 kids who don't eat anything besides chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, but I try. More vegetables, more protein, less brown foods. I don't consume much alcohol anymore, and that's been a good change. Exercise. This is where I struggle. I'm not going to the gym regularly right now. I don't have the interest or motivation, and I need to work on that. But I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm giving myself grace. Therapy. I see my therapist regularly. I do ketamine therapy periodically. I take my medications. Mental health is non negotiable for me. Woodworking. I have access to a collaborative woodworking shop here in Toledo. I don't go as often as I would like, but when I do, it's therapeutic, it's creative, it's non medical, it's mine. Other hobbies. I follow German soccer. I have a friend I connect with about that. I code and automate things. I read for pleasure. These things give me identity outside of medicine. Is any of this perfect? No. Is this everything I should be doing? Maybe not. But it's what I can sustain right now. And that's what matters. Sustainable self care, not perfect self care. All right, so here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Self care doesn't have to be elaborate, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to look like what works for someone else. It just has to work for you. Start small. Transition rituals, boundaries, a moment for yourself each day. That's enough to start and build from there. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you have more time. Don't wait until you're less busy. Start now with whatever you have, wherever you are, and be specific. Practice mindfulness is too vague. Take 5 deep breaths before I walk into my house. Now that's specific. Exercise more. Too vague. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Now that's specific. Eat healthier. Again, too vague. Eat 1 salad a day. Much more specific. Specific, small, sustainable changes. That's what works. And remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot take care of patients if you don't take care of yourself. You cannot sustain a 30-year career if you burn out in 5. Self-care is not selfish. It's essential. It's necessary. It's non-negotiable. So, give yourself permission. Permission to take time for yourself. Permission to set boundaries. Permission to prioritize your well-being. You deserve it. Not because you've earned it through suffering, but because you're human, and humans need care. Even physicians, especially physicians. Self-care without the eye roll. That's what this is about. Not pizza parties, not useless gifts, not vague wellness advice, but practical, sustainable strategies that actually work. Transition rituals. Schedule time for yourself. Boundaries set early. Small moments reframed as self-care. Nutrition without perfection. Movement when you can. Sleep when you can. These aren't revolutionary. They're simple. But simple doesn't always mean easy. It takes intentionality. It takes effort. It takes commitment. But it's worth it. Because you cannot sustain a career in medicine without self-care. You cannot survive the demands. You cannot handle the stress. You cannot manage the emotional toll, not without taking care of yourself. So start today. Pick one thing from this episode, one strategy, one small change, and implement it this week. And then build from there. You don't have to do everything all at once. You just have to start. This is In Search of 42. I'm Dr. Felix Boecker, and your well-being matters. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. If this episode resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment about your self-care strategies. What actually works for you? What are you struggling with? What small change are you going to implement this week? And if you want more on burnout mitigation, check out the Phoenix program on my YouTube channel. All the lessons are there completely for free. And then let me know what you want me to cover next, and I will see you in the next episode.